Hi everybody, good afternoon. We will be starting in 3 minutes. Welcome to week 2 of Intercultural Communication. Good afternoon. I hope you have your lunch already. I hope everybody's great. Well, I'll mute my mic and stop my video a bit, then I'll open it at 2. Give me a second, I wanna open my slides and so forth. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to week 2 of intercultural communication. I hope everybody is good. How are you guys doing? Good. How are you? I want to say hi to Adam, Aina, Akash, Alexa, Amanda, Amira, Anani, Andrea. I have Brenda, I have Celine, Yijay, Chu. Hi, Sui Chin, Yi Xiong, Christy, Jiachi, Chufan. Hi, Ivan. Hi, Jing Deng. Hi, Bato. Hi, Jordan, Un Lim, Wang Yi. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Ravitran, Ryan, Stephen, Shiva Kamini, Sarah. Hi, Valentina, Yi Chen, Zheng Jiu, Zining Look, Misaki, Leila, and Peng Wei. Hello, everybody. Hope that you guys are good wherever you are. Hope you guys had your lunch. Okay, so welcome to week 2 of intercultural communication. Before I start my lecture for today, which is a new topic. Okay, so I want to run through a little bit, little bit stuff with you guys. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now. So in the meantime, when I speak, I appreciate if everybody can mute your mic, and if you have questions, just unmute your mic at any time, and you can ask me questions, or if you feel a little bit too shy, you can type in the chat box. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now. Let me see. Can you guys see my screen right now? Can you see my screen? Are we on the same page? Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna open my browser, and if you can look at your Times page, and when you log in and choose intercultural communication, okay, so what you have here is a list of assessment of rubrics, and at every week I'm going to explain to you guys that I have uploaded slides for chapter 1, which is week 1, extra notes on chapter 1 for you to browse through. Okay, and that will be according to based on a weekly basis. I will have an extra YouTube video that you can watch, that I put up a link right there so that you can watch to have a better understanding of the topic. So for example, week 1, I have here, why should we study intercultural communication? Just click on the link and you can watch the video on your own. So it's just an extra boost of video to help you to understand the topic better. Okay, so for week 2, I have uploaded the slides right here, and as usual, I have a topic right here, an extra video right here on YouTube on how a former FBI agent explains how to read body language. Just a very interesting video according to the weekly topic. So if you have time, and make time to browse through these videos, very interesting videos to help you to learn stuff on intercultural communication, because sometimes when we are on YouTube, we don't really, majority of us don't really watch odd videos. We only watch videos that we like. So try and browse through this video, and it's very interesting for you to watch. Okay, so as of today, this week, do you guys have any questions in regards to week 1 lecture? Do you have questions for me before we start on week 2? Any questions? All good, people? No questions. Okay. So I am looking forward to actually meet everybody in the tutorial group based on tutorial group 1 and tutorial group 2. There is where I wanna know you guys better, so we can have a formal introduction of ourselves in our preferred tutorial group. So before I begin my lecture for week 2, remember to, if you are in tutorial group 1, hi Misha, if you're in tutorial group 1, your class will be on 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Wednesday. Okay, so if you are in tutorial group 2, you come to my classes from on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, so make sure that every time we have tutorial sessions, there will be Zoom meeting links that I will send to you via WhatsApp or Teams messages so that you can actually join. So don't worry about that. So, and don't worry about attendance. I'm going to give the code as soon as we finish our lecture for today. Okay, any questions so far? So you can check out the tutorial list, your name, in the tutorial group right here on Times. I have listed out for tutorial group 1 and tutorial group 2. Okay, any questions, people? Okay, so this week, can I confirm with this week, tomorrow, it's back on campus. Okay, so whereby if you guys can come, tomorrow I'll be on campus from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. to do the classes there. Okay, so if you guys opt for online modules, don't worry, we will still be live streaming from campus. So you guys can see people, a part of us, for example, tutorial group 1. If you guys opt for to be in campus for tutorial sessions, you don't have to log into the Zoom meeting. You just be there in class. Just for people who opt for online sessions, they have to go to the link and we will live stream there. Okay, So tutorial sessions for tomorrow, for tomorrow and for Thursday, I'm going to explain to you details in a very a very lengthy explanation on the assessment. I'm going to start with how to do the APA citation report briefly, and we are going to head on to do the next session. The next part is we're going to do the tutorial for week 2. So it's important that I know most of you are not familiar with the APA citation, right? Is that correct, people? Yes, yes. Okay. So it's good that you guys come and then tune in to tomorrow. So remember, if you're tutorial group 1, just come for tutorial group 1. And if you're tutorial group 2, just come for tutorial group 2. It's the same thing I'm teaching, just that I'm teaching it for 2 different groups. Okay? Any questions? Are we good? Okay, cool. Cool. So introductions, we will see each other tomorrow. Hopefully, because it's very new. I have to do 2 sessions, face online people and face students that will face to face. So hopefully that goes well tomorrow. Okay, so with that, let's start our lecture for today. Our lecture, every time it will be 1 hour formally, yeah. So in case for today, it will be from 2 to 3 p.m. Okay, so as simple as that. If I drag, it means that there's like so many important information that I need to tell you guys. Okay. Okay, with that, let's start our lecture for today. Can you guys see my slides right now? You see it? Okay. Coolio. All right. Okay, let me minimize this. And let's go to, okay, the history of the study of intercultural communication. So when we come to chapter 2, people, we talk about in week 1, why should we study intercultural communication? There are a couple of reasons. For example, the first one would be it's important to study intercultural communication because we get to know ourselves even better. We get to know people around us even better. Yeah, we talk about why we study intercultural communication, because there's so many different demographics in a community, might it be religion, race, ethnicity, and so forth. We talk about, we learn intercultural communication. The reasons, the third reason would be technology. Okay, fourth one would be about economy as well. So, you know, there's 6 reasons why we study intercultural communication. So it's important that you remember those concepts for last week's lecture. Okay, with that, we go a little bit on chapter 2, which is the history of the study of intercultural communication. Okay, when we talk about the history of the study of intercultural communication, it's such a long sentence. What is it all about? Okay, let's go. The early development of the discipline. So when we talk about intercultural communication itself, right? So how the current study of intercultural communication is influenced is how it develops in the United States and in part by the world views. So when we talk about how it develops this intercultural communication, mainly we refer to the United States for every single thing. Why? Because it's the, you know, it's one of the world power controls everything, might it be economy wise, entertainment, and so forth. So that's why most of us, especially the Asian countries, especially in Malaysia, I would say, we refer to the United States. When we the fluctuate of oil as well, we refer to the United States as well. So and with that, how does it develop is through world views. Okay, world views defines as underlying assumption about the nature of reality and human behavior. So how did intercultural communication came about is a group of scholars, a group of academicians, right, who learn about society will always have, from time to time, will have different perception of what community should be. So from time to time, intercultural communication evolves, and there's a lot of people who study in different disciplines of what intercultural communication is about. So from time to time, intercultural communication is influenced by what the scholars think about what intercultural communication is. Okay, any questions so far? Are we good? Okay, cool. If you have any questions, let me know in case I'm not clear or I'm too fast. Okay. Okay. So and let's proceed to the second part, which is when we talk about intercultural communication. It's always involving of it involves going outside. So for example, for you to learn about other communities back then in the 80s and in the 70s is to work in embassies, is to work with different foreign service institute. Yeah, so that's why in 1946, the United States government established Foreign Service Institute for Americans to go out and to learn other communities' behavior and to work in different parts of the world and to you know, explore how other communities react with each other and with their country as well. Okay, moving on. Okay, moving on to the next slide. And with that, when we talk about Foreign Service Institute, it's an institute whereby if you work in the United States, whereby if you work for embassies or you want to go out and represent your country in the United States, they call it as the FSI. In other countries, I think it calls, they name it as embassies. Okay, so with that, when we talk about learning other cultures, it's important that nonverbal communication takes into context. And with that, nonverbal communication is what? Anybody knows what nonverbal communication is? Nonverbal communication, what is that? Facial expression, gestures, yeah, not speaking. So when we talk about nonverbal communication, the way you look at things is very, very important. The way you know, put your shoulders through the back or cross your hands when people talk to you, yeah, it's very, very important. It tells people that, you know, what are you feeling at that point of time. So to, you know, to communicate non-verbally is really, really important as well. You don't want to send the wrong message to people. Okay, so when we talk about non-verbal communication, yeah, when we talk about non-verbal communication, it's basically non-spoken communication. Okay, it varies from culture to culture, whereby there is a scholar by the name of Hall and created the concept of prosemics. Okay, prosemics would be the study of how people use personal space to communicate. And there are 4 types of distance zone, okay, whereby we have intimate, we have personal, we have social, and we have public. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a little bit on intimate. Intimate, for example, you with your parents, you know, with your loved ones, you can touch, you know, your loved one can actually come to you and touch your shoulder. That would be, you know, an intimate space that you share with another individual. Okay, personal would be among friends, whereby you can actually, you know, welcome friendly gestures upon your body to another person. Social would be, for example, for people that you are not close with. So for example, give me a second. Why is my slide like this? Okay, for example, in terms of social, okay, it's like you and me. For example, with a lecturer, you must have a gap in talking, you know, in speaking with the lecturer. There's a particular gap if you're not that close with the lecturer, and have a conversation with him or her. Yeah. Any questions so far? Yeah, intimate is something is whereby it's the individual that cross your space is someone who is very, very close to you. It must be your mother. So your mother, sometimes your mother can actually, you know, put your head like this, you know, just push your head like this. So very, very intimate. Only people that you are close with can actually do that. People that you are, you know, very intimate and personal can actually do that. In case if I do that, you're gonna like, oh my God, what are you doing? So things like that. Yeah. Can communication be through movies, for example, be non-verbal because it's one way? Yes, communication can be can be through movies as well. It is being portrayed through messages, through characters. Yeah, that's communication as well, Omar. That's right. And we have public as well. Okay, the last type of distance zone, which is public, whereby, for example, if a stranger comes and cross the borderline and just like push you away and just like push you away, or not purposely to touch you, things like that, you'll be like, excuse me, and be really angry. So there's 4 types of distance zone that people actually practice in community. Okay, any questions, people, before we proceed? Are we good? Okay, continuing on to the next part, which is application of theory. So when we talk about how people in Foreign Service Institute, let's talk back about people from the US government and people who want to work outside and meet other cultures. So the Foreign Service Institute in the United States, they generate, right, a list of theories that workers, Foreign Service Institute workers, that they should actually, you should use this theory and you should use this theory. So it doesn't work like that in real life, because when you want to actually encounter people from a different culture, you have to go through training. Okay, so for example, right here, that's why the Foreign Service Institute realized that theory is not applicable to people who work outside the country. So they gave them cross-cultural training, which is training people to become familiar with other cultural norms and to improve their interactions with people of different domestic and international cultures. So for example, in the Foreign Service Institute, let's say you are the Foreign Service Institute executive and you are going to station at Malaysia, for example, right? and you're from America. Let's say you come from America and you don't know anything about Malaysia. So a Malaysian representative normally in the Foreign Service Institute will come and train the American to expose him or her the cultural diversity in that particular country. So for example, it's not good to say blah blah blah. It's good to follow this kind of rules. Yeah, so that's why cross-cultural training is very, very important. And the second one will be diversity training, whereby the training meant to facilitate intercultural communication among various gender, ethnic, and racial groups in the United States. So normally when we talk about in Malaysia itself, there's a particular more or less a Foreign Service Institute we call here as the institute that practice and gives training to expose people from embassy, to expose government representatives who are elect to go to different countries to represent Malaysia. This particular institute is called by the name of Intan. Okay, Intan will always will train this diplomatic officers, when we call people who represent Malaysia to a different country who works as in an embassy. We call them as diplomatic officers. So this diplomatic officer will have a training. For example, he or she is being stationed in the United States, and he or she needs to know the diversity of community in the United States. They have to train how would you meet people from the LGBT community, how would you react people or rephrase your words and sentences if you meet people from the African descent and things like that. So diversity training is also offered from different parts of the country where government representatives go to different parts of the world to represent their country to another country as well. Okay, so a little bit, I hope you guys can follow me. Are you guys good? Okay, are you guys good? Any questions? Okay, so far okay. So we move on. We move on to an interdisciplinary focus. Okay, when we talk about intercultural communication, it's very interdisciplinary, whereby you can mix it with any kinds of area. So intercultural communication, it doesn't have to be just cultural things. You talk about cultural things. No, it can be about arts. It can be about entertainment. It can be about for example, K-pop. It can be about in a business context, in a health context, anything. And with that, when we talk about intercultural communication, linguists, people who learn language, helps us to understand the importance of language and its role in intercultural communication. So when we talk about intercultural, language plays an important role, because cultural and language, different culture have different language, they have different dialects and so forth. And with that, it leads to our concept for today, which is Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Okay, so Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is the assumption that language shapes of our ideas and guides our views of social reality. So for example, okay, when we talk about the English language, right, there's no sort of formality to use, you know, to phrase I and you. If you're if you're a CEO as well, you can just use the language of I and you, because that's very, very universal. But different language, for example, if I'm not mistaken, Japanese, and then we have for the Thai language as well, you have certain formality in using certain words, and especially in Malay. Okay, so for example, if a formal language in Malay addressing myself would be saya. Okay, saya, for example, saya saya, but in a harsh and very, very relaxed way, which you use with your friends, you use aku, you know. So different language have, you know, different ways of looking at things. Yeah. Any questions so far? Give me a second. Hey, where's my chat box? Hey yo. Where is my chat box? Any questions so far, people? Oh, I had joined. Okay, sorry. No problem, Omar. Okay, so coming back. Any other questions? No questions. Okay. So coming back, so it differs according to language. So for example, but I'm gonna give you an idea or a situation whereby, for example, if you are a nurse, right, in any society, we always have this skeptical perception whereby if you are a nurse, you should be a woman. If a man works as a nurse, it is something out of the world. For example, if you go to if you go to a woman mechanic, a mechanic who is a woman, it'd be like you have this weird and it blows out your mind. Oh, why is a woman working this kind of career? So you know that language that we use, you know, towards to shape our reality, actually, you know, is something to be you know, thought about, you know. So sometimes, what if a man is a nurse? Maybe he likes it, you know. So what if a man is a male nanny? Well, you know, so this kind of words, that is what Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is about, how language shapes our reality. Yeah. So with that, when we talk about intercultural communication as well, learning second and third language increases intercultural competence. If you have the time to learn different languages throughout your life, go and do it, because it increases you know, your capability and your credibility. And if you want to work later on in the workforce, having an extra language is really, really good. It's an extra credit for you to, you know, go to. Okay, so any questions so far, people? Are we good? Where is my chat box again? Okay, sorry if at any time I ask questions. I just want everybody to be clear about the concepts. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna do like this. This is much better, I think, which is the second influence of the current study of intercultural communication. We go to a subtopic of perception and the worldview of the researcher. Okay, so when we talk about how people look at things, and we in terms of an academic context, we call that as research paradigm. This is research paradigm, a framework that serves as the worldview of researchers. Different paradigms assume different interpretation of reality, human behavior, culture, and communication. Okay, so research paradigm is for example, the way you look at things through your research. That is when every time when you do a research, right, in the in academic, you must base your research on a particular theory. So we have so many theories throughout different studies. In intercultural communication, we have theories as well. So I'm going to explain that later on. Okay, and with that, people understand and learn about the world through filtering lenses. So as I mentioned before, different people have different interpretation on looking at things, and that's why the world is so beautiful. So that's why there's so many studies about intercultural communication and how people look at things. Yeah. And there's the definition of perception, whereby the process which individuals select, organize, and interpret external and internal stimuli to create their view of their world. Okay, so perception, different people have different perception of things, yeah? And we go to a little bit on the approaches of studying intercultural communication. Okay, with that, I'm gonna give you an overview whereby every topic, okay, every topic, for example, culture, conflict, or pop culture, you will find these three terms: looking at things through the social science approach, looking at things at the interpretive approach, and looking things at the critical approach. Okay, so in studying intercultural communication, there will always be these three approaches at every topic that you are going to study. Okay, so let's go to the first approach. Okay, so the social science approach would be is also called the functionalist approach, whereby it describes external reality. Okay, it describes human behavior is predictable, and that the researcher's goal is to describe and predict the behavior. So when we talk about social science approach, when you act as a researcher to predict people's communities' behavior, you are using the social science approach. And using the social science approach, you use, give me a second, you use the quantitative methods. Okay, quantitative methods would be through survey. Okay, through normally through creating a survey question. For example, we have 15 questions to ask. For example, I give you a topic to describe people's behavior in watching violent TV programs, and you wanna know the Taylor students, 20 Taylor students from the age group of 18 to 25, how do they react in watching violent TV programs, right? So you use through survey questions, and you will have like a list of questions that you that you created that you want to ask to these people. So these people is what you call your target audience, and you are doing a survey. Okay, are you guys good? Questions so far? Where's my chat box? Okay. So that is quantitative methods. Okay, quantitative methods. So when you do social science approach, you can either ask for individual for an individual questionnaire. So when you create your question, it is called questionnaire, and you can focus on individualistic, whereby you focus on the beliefs, needs, and goals of an individual, or in your research you want to focus on a certain group of people, how they react, their behavior and so forth. So social science approach, it's more to describing why people act a certain way, and you want to research about that. Okay, so for example, why if you want to create a research paper in intercultural communication, why so many youngsters like K-pop, and you want to know the list of what kind of reasons why they like K-pop. So and you want to do research on that, and that's doable, and you can do that. That's very that will be a very good research. Okay, so that is through the social science approach. Okay, coming on to the next one, which is theories underlying the social science approach. Okay, in intercultural communication, we have anxiety, uncertainty management theory. So when we talk about theories, people, it is your research that you want to do must be based on a particular existing theory by a certain scholar. So a certain understanding of the situation, that would be a theory. Okay, so the first one, we have different types of theories in intercultural communication. We have anxiety, uncertainty management theory, which is from Goody Coons, whereby the view that the reduction of anxiety and uncertainty plays an important role in intercultural communication, particularly in experiencing new cultures. So anxiety, uncertainty management theory is when you use where your research is about how people come into different countries, and most probably to study in a different country is very, very difficult. You can use this particular theory. Okay, and we have phase negotiation theory, the next one, which is by Stella Tain-Tumis, the view that cultural groups vary in preferences for conflict styles and phases. So if you have a research on how certain communities use different styles in saving their faces, you can use this particular theory as well. Okay, and we have conversational constraint theory, which is to explain how and why people make particular conversational choices. Different people have different you know objectives in telling people information, certain information. So you can use this theory as well. Okay, you can use this theory, conversational constraint theory. We have another one, which is communication accommodation theory, is that you can use in research that where people, you want to find people or cultures who can accommodate different cultures, and why do they do that? You can use this theory. And we have the next one is diffusions of innovations theory, whereby the view that communication and relationships play important roles in how news ideas are adopted by individuals and groups. So in diffusions of innovations theory, it's more how when you read news, whether you are influenced by it or not, individually or in groups. Okay, any questions so far, people? Where's my chat box? I always have this problem. Okay, everybody good? Sometimes I hope my explanation is okay. Okay, cool. Okay, we go to the next one is strength and limitation. Okay, when you do research, okay, you should establish as a researcher in learning intercultural communication, or in learning any topic, right? In any subjects, you have to establish that what is the strength of your research and what are the limitations. You can only do a certain thing in your research. You cannot do all. Okay, when we talk about academic research, you have to focus on one particular area. Okay, and with that, we go to the next one, which is the interpretive approach. Okay, so this is the second approach, which is the interpretive approach, an approach in intercultural communication that understands and describes human behavior within specific culture groups based on the assumption that human experience is subjective, it's creative rather than determined and easily predicted. Culture is created and maintained through communication. When you talk about the interpretive approach, it's more of to find the reason why people behave like that. And with that, you can't use survey, you have to interview people. So might it be you interview one by one, or you interview through focus groups and so forth. That's what interpretive approach is. You find out the reason why people behave like that. Okay, why people are acting a certain way. What's the reason behind it? Okay, and with that, the method to actually use it is through ethnography. It's a discipline that examines the pattern, interactions, and significant symbols of specific cultural groups to identify the cultural norms and guide their behaviors, usually based on field studies. So for example, I'm going to share with you guys, I did a communication research before on why why people like, why youngsters like rave music. What is the reason that they go through? There's a particular festival. I don't know whether you guys know. Back then, it's the FMFA Festival Music Festival. No, FMFA. Have you guys been there before? Have you guys been to FMFA? Or is it me, the oldies who have been to FMFA? Okay, so you gotta Google what is FMFA. So that was like gazillion years ago, where people go to this festival and to actually enjoy rave musics and DJs and so forth. Yeah. So when we talk about rave music, it's very, very common to listen to rave music. You have to pair it up with alcohol and drugs. So I did a research on that, especially targeting to the Malay youngsters community. Yeah, Future Music Festival Asia. Yeah, that's right. FMFA. Good vibes. What is GVF? Maybe it's a youngsters thing. Yeah, FMFA. Maybe it's oldie things. Good vibes. It's for old people. Maybe you guys go to Good Vibes. I don't know, or maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. You guys can check it out and tell me whether it's the same thing or not. I don't go to GVF. Yeah, there's a lot of festival nowadays, but because of the COVID, you can't do that. Okay, never mind. Okay, then we move on. Okay, so I did research why people go to listen to rave music and do drugs and things like that. Yeah, so that is with the interpretive approach, and with that, using the interpretive approach, you can do a research based on your observation as well, or you can do the research based on people who are in the situation as well. Yeah, so that can be done, and we go a little bit on we skip this one lah. Very minor. Okay, so skip this slide and we go a little bit on Afrocentricity. Okay, Afrocentricity is a framework developed by Molefi Asante 1987 to 2001. It's an orientation towards African or African American cultural standards, including beliefs and values as the criteria for interpreting behavior and attitudes. So when we talk about Afrocentricity, it's how they are being represented, how their beliefs and values are being shared within the community, and they want to share it with different communities, how they work in their certain, cultural group as well. So there are 5 cultural themes shared by people of African descent. Okay, so which is the first one is common origin and experience of struggle. So when we talk about African descent, it's always about how they struggle their way through getting equal rights. Example, in the United States, equal rights between white and people of color as well. The second one will be an element of resistance to European legal procedures, medical practices, and political processes as well. The third one will be traditional values of humaneness and harmony with nature. So when we talk about people from African descent, they always have this harmony with nature, very, very beautiful. And the fourth one would be a fundamental African way of knowing and interpreting the world. And then the fifth one would be an orientation towards communalism. So how African people, works in a certain way is through sharing these 5 cultural themes. Okay? Questions so far, people? Are we good? Where's my chat box? Okay. Continuing on to the last approach, which is the critical approach. Okay, the critical approach is whereby it believes in subjective and material reality. It focuses on macro context. Okay, a critical approach would be a combination of social science and interpretive, whereby you're looking in terms of a combination of things, and you're very critical. Critical approach is many assumptions of the interpretive approach, but most focus on macro context such as the political and social structures that influence communication. So normally when we talk about critical approach research, you want to know how certain people behave, and why are they behaving a certain way like that. So it's a combination of social science and interpretive. Okay, and you can examine so many things. For example, in critical approach, you can examine through TV programs. You can examine through characters in movies. You can and you can examine through news content as well. So it depends on what you want to look at. In terms of doing an academic research, right? Might it be in anything, business, economy, or and even intercultural. The most important thing how we do things in the academic way is to think of a certain problem. Okay, that's why I don't know whether you guys have heard this. Is your lecturers will always ask you, what's the problem statement? What's the problem? What's the issue that you want to go into? Okay, you must have a single problem that you would like to examine, and most probably at the end of the day, you will have the preferred solution. So, or the preferred solution according to you. What is the correct way to do that? Or things like that. Or if you don't have solution, that's fine. Maybe you do that particular research and let other people to continue your research in hopes that they will find a certain way of doing things according to the issue that you want to research. So in terms of academic research, might be in different fields that you are in. The most common thing when you write a research paper is the problem statement. Okay, what is your goal? What's the focus of your problem statement? So that is for a little bit on those three approaches. Questions, people? That's a fundamental of knowing academic research, because throughout time when I talk to students, right, they have so many ideas. They are being told so many things of how doing academic research, and I would like to give you the basic fundamentals of doing a research is to think about the problem statement. So that's why when you do, I don't know, when you do academic writing or things like that, you want to go and research on something, that's what your supervisors will ask you. What's your problem statement? What's your research objective? What is your objective towards researching this problem? Why do you want to research it? Is it important? Is it not important? Has anybody else done that before? And things like that. Okay, so that's a fundamental I want to share with you guys today. Okay, questions. Where is my chat box again? Oh my god. Where's my chat box, huh? Were any questions so far? Where is my chat box? Oh, sorry, people. No questions. Okay. Good, yeah? Okay. Coming to the last few parts. Yay! Super, yay! Okay. Which is a dialectical approach to understand culture and communication. Okay, so what is a dialectical approach? So many concepts. So bear with me, there's so many concepts in intercultural communication, and it's important for quizzes that you remember and you understand these concepts that I've shared with you. Okay, so dialectical approach is an approach to intercultural communication that integrates three approaches just now. So dialectical approach is is a combination of just now social science, interpretive, and critical in one research. So you want to research on so many things. So you use a dialectical approach, yeah? And it recognizes and accepts that three approaches are interconnected and sometimes contradictory. So throughout time, when you do academic research, if you do and you opt for a subject that needs to do academic research, it depends on what you want to do. So it's good that when you think of a topic and then you come back to the slides again to see where your topic falls under. Okay, and with regards to processual nature of intercultural communication, it's important to remember that cultures change, so do individuals. So from time to time, you need to do different research. So for example, during my PhD, I researched on how netizens talk about the 1MDB political scandal by our former Prime Minister Najib Razak. How do they feel during those 2 years? So I collected like by my own, can you imagine, like 85,000 comments every day. I have to collect comments from Facebook, and it's an open Facebook page where you can actually, you know, take that comment. So it's a combination of a dialectical approach. So in case you want to do an academic writing, or in case you feel confused later on, you can come to me and talk to me about all these approaches. Okay, and with that, let's talk about 6 dialectics of intercultural communication. So when we talk about dialectic, it's a method of logic based on idea, that an idea generates its opposite, okay, leading to a reconciliation of the opposites. Okay, so a dialectic will be a logic whereby sometimes things work, sometimes things doesn't work as well. So the first one will be cultural individual dialectic, whereby we share communication patterns with members of the group to which we belong. That's true as well. Sometimes in cultural individual dialectic, sometimes people in the particular culture don't like the culture that they belong to. Yeah, so that's the opposite of it. So personal contextual dialectic will be focusing on intercultural relationship, on the person and context. Sometimes in intercultural communication, we learn about toxic intercultural relationship as well, whereby they couldn't come to a certain understanding because they come from different cultures. Yeah. The third one will be different similarities dialectic, which is characterized both similarity and differences, identify and describe real and important differences between group of people. So this is it's more of how you see a community. So, you know, sometimes people can be different. If you're in the same community, you practice the same things. Sometimes you are so different than you know, from your same culture. So for example, I come from a Malay culture, but it is very important that in a Malay culture you practice only Islam, okay? But from one individual to another, one individual of Muslim can have great practices of Islam, whereby he or she prays every single day. Another Muslim can not pray as well, and they call themselves Muslim, you know. So differences, similarities, dialectic, and we have static dynamic dialectic, tends to be at once static and dynamic, whereby some cultural and communication patterns remain relatively constant, whereas other aspects of culture shift over time. So when we talk about culture, some remain the same at every phase, some changes. Okay, and the fifth one will be history, past, present, future dialectic, whereby it focuses simultaneously in the past and present in understanding intercultural communication. And the sixth one is privilege, disadvantage dialectic, whereby people may be simultaneously privileged and disadvantaged. When we talk about dialectic, right, it's how it's a logic in looking at things. So sometimes, for example, right, there will be people, you know, we consider ourselves in the class right here would be privileged. There'll be as well when we talk about, you know, when we take things for granted. Would you say that people, we take things for granted? For example, you know, we have everything right here, but sometimes we tend to forget that there will always be people who are very, very you know, who doesn't have so many things like us, you know, but struggling, you know, to achieve something in life. So dialectic will be reasons why people are like that, why the history is like that. So that is dialectic. Okay, questions, people, that'll be end of it. Yeah, Bersama will always remind you. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Andrea. Okay, questions, people. Are we good? Stop sharing. Okay, any questions? I have 101 today. Welcome. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Yes. Dialectic is more of improving your opinions and seeing why it's a certain community that way. Sometimes, for example, we always have this perception, right? Why is that person poor? You know, why is that person really poor? Does she or does he, you know, work his butt off and work hard towards something, you know? But sometimes there's always a reason and a logic behind it. Yeah, so something to think about. Okay. Okay, self-culture report. I'm gonna explain it more tomorrow. More tomorrow in class and in our Zoom meeting. For tutorial group 1, I'm gonna explain tomorrow. For tutorial group 2, I'm gonna explain it on Thursday. I'm gonna explain a detailed version of the assessment for self-culture report and for the final piece first. So stay tuned tomorrow, okay? Okay, Adam, you it will be it can be it is you will send it through Times, but I haven't created the section yet, so I'm gonna create it soon. Okay, so any questions? Are we good, people? Any questions at all? Are you guys clear with my explanation? Okay, the deadline of the assessment will be, I will be sharing with you guys in detail tomorrow. Okay? Okay, any questions before we wrap things up? Sure, Andrea, you can ask me tomorrow. Okay, give me a second. Don't leave just yet. Okay, give me a second. Tomorrow we go to school. Okay, I'm gonna give you the code right now. Give me a second. Any stuff we have to bring? No, you can bring your laptops. That's fine as well. Bring your laptop so it will be easier. I'm gonna post the tutorial on time, so maybe it'll be easier for you guys just to do the stuff on your laptop if you don't have your phones with you. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the code right now for your attendance. This would be our code for today. Okay, give me a second. Okay, please log in to camps.taylors.edu.my and post this code within 10 minutes and sign your attendance, okay? Okay, with that, it's a wrap for today. I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. I'll be posting up the link, the Zoom meeting link tomorrow on Times Message and in our Facebook group. Hopefully we'll meet each other tomorrow. If there's any changes, I will let you know tonight. But for now, we are meeting on campus for those who opt for face-to-face tomorrow. Okay? Thank you very much. You may leave the meeting room, and I look forward to see each and every one of you during our tutorial session. Thank you very much, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Make sure to do the passcode thingy. That's a passcode. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.